Passe Partout.
Good morning, and once again, we thank you for joining us on this Sunday morning. Let's head to New Iberia, where the community there came together yesterday for a picnic in West End Park. The goal is to put a stop to the crime in that area. News 10's Kai Price is telling us how the event brought that city closer together.
A day full of fun and activities was held to bring the community together to try and curb the violence in the area. Peaches Mitchell, the director of operations for the Restore Outreach Center, says the parish has been going through a rough time, but says the community coming together today shows a change is on the way.
Our parish have been dealing with a lot, so it means a lot for the community just to come together, because again, some of our families and our communities don't know all the resources that are there to offer. So it's one thing to show our community and surrounding parishes and other communities coming together that we can kind of break this cycle and kind of, service our community with counseling services.
Cortland Wells, a member of Teen Court in New Iberia, says the shift begins with parents pushing their kids to be the best person they can be.
It means a lot, actually. It starts off with the adults in our community to bring our children out here, and to see how hard they pushed our kids out here is awesome. I love it.
Neely Moore, Assistant Superintendent of the Iberia Parish School Board, advises students to continue being positive inside and outside of the classroom and says change starts with learning.
We want to remind our students that there's positive things going on and there's positive opportunities in our community, and once again that starts with reading and education. So we just want to remind them to be at school every day, be a part of a positive movement inside their schools, and continue to be successful.
Felicia Armstead, organizer of the Unity Community Picnic, says the event shows the community can care for one another no matter what.
You hear a lot of negative, but this is really positive, and everybody just giving up themselves said yes. Everything is free. We loving on each other. It's amazing how when you mean well will follow you, and it'll happen.
Armstead says putting forth an effort to bring positivity to the area will help everyone moving forward. In New Iberia, Kai Price, KLFY, News 10.
In other news, Friday marked 2 months since Javion Baptiste went missing Thursday. A suspect was arrested for his murder. Javion's mom, Nicole, was glad to finally have some justice. Nicole Jagno, Javion's mother, says it was 2 months ago that God walked with her on the longest walk of her life. In the post, she thanks the community for all their prayers and support and says, "This is only the beginning." Quote, "My heart is in pieces, but I will never be completely whole ever again. Again, my heart is in pieces, but I still scream my praises to God for moving with my son's justice and blessing me with joy for 18 years. Thank you all for your prayers and support." Javion was only 19 years old. The investigation is still ongoing. All right, in Lafayette, a mother of 2 children speaks out after she claims the Himbola Apartments' long-term mold and water leak issues are not getting resolved. News 10's Rodrika Taylor looked into the problem and spoke.
The tenants I spoke with say they have been dealing with these issues of mold and water leaks for years, and they're tired of it. They say even after reporting these issues to the complex manager, nothing has been done.
I'm dealing with mold and water leaking from my ceiling in my bathroom, as well as my hallway and the closet in my bedroom.
Brandy Prejean says she has lived at the Himbola Manor Apartments for 3 years with 2 children, ages 6 and 11 years old.
They come and they kind of look at it, but they only put a Band-Aid on it. There's never any professionals, plumbers, electricians, or anything who actually come out and get the job done, where I don't have to continue reporting over and over.
She says the conditions she is living in has her worried for her and her children's health.
We haven't visited a hospital or anything, but that's in the making.
Warrenika Goodman, who says she has been living there for 8 years, shares she is dealing with the same thing as Prejean.
I would hope that everything would get fixed, but they just would need to have more communication with the tenants here and working on maintenance as it needs to be required, and not giving us excuses after excuses.
I believe wholeheartedly nobody should have to live this way just because of their financial situation. A lot of people use this to actually get out of where we actually are, and the conditions make that kind of hard to be able to do that.
I sent an email to the registered agent of the apartment complex and haven't received a response yet. In Lafayette, Roderica Taylor, KLFY News 10.
So the Opelousas City Marshal's office continues their push to increase patrols, and their efforts have resulted in the discovery of fentanyl inside of an elementary school zone there. Assistant Marshal Louis Armstrong says a traffic stop led to the arrest when deputy marshals discovered the individuals in the car had outstanding court warrants. On the scene, deputies were warned by individuals in the vehicle that fentanyl was inside and should be handled properly. Armstrong says that discovery was even more alarming because it took place in a school zone. Then there's the amount of fentanyl found could have had a deadly impact on everyone in that perimeter.
Scientists have said that 700 micrograms of fentanyl can have an extreme risk of death. Even a small amount is very deadly. That amount that we seized very well much could have killed a large group of people.
So Armstrong says, working with State Representative Dustin Miller, they're fortunate they have received additional funding in this fight against such deadly drugs. In Lafayette last week, the highly anticipated design plans for the new Lafayette High School were presented to the public. Now, this presentation took place on Monday, and that was at a town hall meeting hosted by the school board.
So we're going to see designs of the interior of the school. Up until now, it's really just been kind of the exterior and the site layout, but we're going to get to see the interior of the new school building, detailed construction timeline, exactly what we can expect when over the next couple of years.
School board member Justin Santani says a great deal of thought and effort has gone into the design for the new school being presented, saying the goal has been to build something new, but keep the heart of the over 60-year history of Lafayette High. Santani says the most important aspect of designing the school was incorporating the minds of those who have walked the halls.
We polled all 2,000 students at Lafayette High to see what they wanted. We polled all the teachers to see what they wanted, how the facility could best meet the needs of education in the 21st century. We had a steering committee made up of alumni and administrators at Lafayette High to make sure we were capturing the soul of Lafayette High and not making drastic changes as we move into a new phase.
As the design is finalized and construction enters its early stages, Santani says the school board is ready to hear from the community as they see the vision for Lafayette High's next chapter.
Community involvement is everything with our school. Is there anything we can do better? Is there anything we haven't thought of as far as how the timeline is laid out so that we can best take that into account and make sure that we're being good neighbors and giving the community what they want? To have their involvement in the next generation of Lafayette High is just so crucial and so important.
That was Zhang Hogue reporting there, and Santani says the goal is to have the new school completed and ready for students to move in the spring of 2025. And speaking of something new, after a summer of extreme weather, heat, wildfires, and hurricanes dominated the headlines, Janet Shamlin shows us how some people right here in Louisiana, that's right, in Louisiana, making changes in how they live to ensure the next natural disaster won't leave them without a home.
Max Begay loves almost everything about living in coastal Louisiana.
Every time I come in, I love the way it looks.
But hurricane season brings back memories of Katrina in 2005, when his home and neighborhood were washed away, almost as if they never existed.
Did you think about leaving at all after Katrina?
We all did, and a lot of people left, but I chose to stay.
He also chose a geodesic dome for his new house, made of close to 300 interwoven triangles.
I built the dome because I didn't want to go through the process of losing another house.
The dome home is able to withstand winds topping 200 miles per hour, making it essentially hurricane-proof.
When you told people you were building a dome home, what did they say?
They thought I was a kook.
Not anymore. The spherical home is also energy efficient because surface area is minimized. His electric bills are usually less than $100 a month, a third of what his neighbors pay. Domes have long been built for their resiliency, from the world's first dome stadium, the Astrodome, to the majestic Iron Dome of the U.S. Capitol.
We really want to be able to show how geodesic domes are not just stable and resilient, but they're also eminently efficient and portable and practical.
The Smithsonian recently reassembled this dome, the first built in North America, after 6 decades in storage, part of a focus on extreme weather.
We're absolutely not thinking enough about the role of housing and structures in climate change.
Dome-shaped buildings made of concrete can withstand wildfires, floods, and earthquakes. Their shape also allows them to disperse tremendous weight without collapsing. Construction costs are generally higher, but so is the chance of survival.
How long will you stay here?
Well, how long do I have?
A dome of self-defense for those living on the front lines of Mother Nature's beauty and her fury. Janet Shamlian, CBS News, St. Bernard, Louisiana.
Trevor, Sonia over in the Weather Center, and Lee is done with us.
Yes.
Or we're done with Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
now
think it was a mutual agreement.
Yeah.
We parted ways.
Yeah. All right, so moving forward, where are we now?
Well, actually, more fall-like weather coming in through the next few days, and drier air moving in as well behind a front. Let's take a look at where things stand this morning. First thing we'll look at is Sky 10 camera. Shows mostly cloudy skies, and we are seeing some showers on Storm Team 10 radar, so I'll show that in just a second. But 75 in Lafayette, 68 in Shreveport, 65 in Alexandria. So there is a temperature gradient there. There is a temperature change. Drier air is in the process of moving in, but it's not quite here yet, and that's why we're still seeing a few showers. We saw this band develop about an hour ago, and it's still going. It's now moving towards Vermilion Bay, New Iberia, getting some rainfall, and hopefully this continues to work offshore, and we'll see a clearing trend later on in the afternoon, and that's what we're seeing on satellite radar. Notice the cloud cover has now cleared out across central and northern portions of the state, but we still have some moisture hanging around across Acadiana, and that's why we're still seeing a few of these light showers. So temperatures rising through the 80s and into the 90s later on this afternoon. Future Track shows mostly clear skies for today and for tonight. For tomorrow, a continuation of the sunshine and also some hot temperatures ahead. But we'll see some cool mornings, so that's the trade-off. When you have a drier air mass, you usually see a sharper temperature gradient there between the morning low and the afternoon high, and that's what we're going to see today in the mid-90s, but we'll be falling all the way back into the mid-60s, mid to upper 60s by tomorrow morning, and then warming up some 30 degrees through the day, getting back into the low to mid 90s. North winds at around 5 to 10 miles per hour today, and we'll keep a northeasterly breeze, a fairly light though, but we'll keep it in the forecast for tomorrow. This drier air continuing to move down into the area. Moisture does try to make a return though by Wednesday and Thursday, so we could see some isolated showers on those days, but then drier air tries to come back in via a backdoor front for Friday and Saturday. Here's trough number 1, and these troughs have been looking stronger and stronger, but that's pretty typical for this time of year. We're getting into late September, so we're going to start to see more of these stronger troughs, and hopefully our first strong front is not far away when we actually see some chilly air. That usually comes around the 2nd or 3rd week in October, so we're only talking about maybe 3 weeks away. So across the tropics, we have Tropical Storm Nigel getting better organized as it works off to the north. Could become a major hurricane, but the good news with this one, as a lot of the storms this season, it will stay an Atlantic system. So for today, 93 your high, north winds at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, rain chance of about 20% this morning, but then going down later on this afternoon. 7-day forecast has great weather through the week ahead, some cool and comfortable mornings in the 60s, and temperatures in the 90s each and every day.
Sweet.